Well, good afternoon, also good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're delighted to be here and delighted that you're here this morning. Jeremy is going to speak first a little bit about what's happened over the last 10 years, and we'll need to move this presentation around a bit, Jeremy. And then I will, given the tight time that we have, I'll follow up at the end.
Right, here we go. I guess as a kind of an Eric and Ernie kind of thing, I'll be Eric since I've got the appallingly disgusting flamboyant tie of supposed Italian origin. And I'm about to be history. And of course, as you know, Eric Morecambe and Ernie Wise, we still have Ernie around. First of all, very quickly, I love Peter's presentation. I can just see the North Sea offshore support vessels bearing their efficiency ratings on their hulls, parked in Aberdeen and anchored offshore 20 and 30 at a time. I could just see it. Right, celebrating 10 years of sustainable energy acceleration in Aberdeen. I'd say this is most definitely about being different. It is about taking a different view. The genesis of AREG lies actually in the last major oil price crunch, which is the end of the 1990s, when the price of oil dipped to just above $8 for a few days in November 1998, and Aberdeen was, say, enveloped in the second major oil price crisis to hit the North Sea. And that set people thinking, and it is the very reason as to why All Energy was created. All Energy was created in this city by Aberdeen, and we invited the original founders of the Offshore Europe show to take risk, which indeed they did. Now then, so we started life as a focus group in reality. But we were incorporated basically in 1993, 1994. Now, if I hit these buttons the right way, so here we go. We are one of the longest established renewable energy organizations in the UK, and we do have around about 170 members, mostly drawn from the oil and gas supply chain, which is a critical target for us, because within that supply chain resides much of the expertise that increasingly the maritime renewables sector is today utilizing, rather than reinventing the wheel, which it most certainly was in danger of doing a decade or so back. Aberdeen is Scotland's largest employer in the context of maritime renewables. And basically that flows from, that's derived from the expertise within the oil and gas supply chain, say, being harnessed by the maritime renewable sector. And we are increasingly recognized as being a very important part of the equation, and we're very proud of that. And the estimated leverage of our efforts in terms of getting that supply chain engaged is in the order of £48 million using standard metrics. So what do we do? Well, we are about trying to help build a sustainable energy future. We are part of a jigsaw. And of course, we're actively promoting the expertise in our region. Aberdeen and the northeast of Scotland are home to the greatest concentration of upstream offshore oil and gas technology in the capability in the world outside Houston. And we are we're a mite of a place compared with Houston, whose population is 6 million. This region has a population of in the order of 400,000. We are helping to retain local skills. We are helping to create new job opportunities. And we are very much facilitating regional economic development. And our purpose is to create a lasting legacy. But we are the organization that dared not just to be an something that was promoting, if you like, a trade-type association membership, helping members to market, bringing market to members. We actually dared to have projects, about which one in particular later. Right. World-class energy center. I just said what we are. We're in terms of the oil and gas sector. And we believe, and in fact the evidence I think is increasingly there, that there is this powerful synergy between, if you like, maritime oil and gas and maritime renewables. So much of the supply chain, but not all of it, so much of the oil and gas supply chain is thoroughly relevant to the supply chain requirements of maritime renewables. And we do seriously have a highly skilled workforce. You get on the red eye, British Airways red eye on a Monday morning and walk down the aisle of the aircraft and ask people where they're going. And you'll be astonished as to where these guys are going. Get back on the plane at the end on a Friday and ask the same set of questions, and you'll get the same set of answers. We have an incredibly skilled workforce, and these are guys who are tramping the world because they have an expertise which is in massive demand. Obviously, like any other city, a city region, we're working hard to make land available, to make resources available to develop a localized capability. And we've consistently enjoyed public sector support. I cannot praise particularly Aberdeen City Council enough for the unstinting backing and enthusiastic support that they've given to AREG over its life.
Jeremy, I think probably one more minute. Is that okay?
Well, okay. And we've just gone through a major reorganization. Like every good organization, or any organization that's, if you like, trying to do its job properly, we analyze ourselves. We think, well, how can we do things better? And we have literally taken AREG through a massive change. And the net result is that AREG is being integrated into other sustainable energy functions of the city. It'll work very closely with the hydrogen group and so on and so forth. And part of the restructuring also includes changing the board status as well. The existing board is standing down, and a new advisory board is being created. But we are unrelenting as a city in terms of pushing forward as a global energy capital, both on the oil and gas front and on the renewables front. We are extending our membership. In fact, the Orkney Islands Council was the first of our new external members, and Maureen McCorkindale, who's sitting down here at the front, is really going to push that. And one of the reasons for that is because a lot of people from out with our region have been knocking on our door and saying, can we come in? So we are now letting you all in. You'd be very pleased to hear. I've just mentioned the new advisory board. That will span the sustainable energy aspects of Aberdeen, of which more will be announced later. And we are retaining through the city, AREG has always held, in essence, our share of the European Offshore Wind Deployment Centre project, which is, strictly speaking, Aberdeen Offshore Wind Farm Limited. We're the 25% partner. Vattenfall is the 75% operating partner. The EOWDC is the project which is currently being challenged, or rather it's the Scottish Government that's being challenged, but we are the, if you like, the victim of this. We are stalled by a certain individual called Donald Trump, or the Trump Organization, which seems to take a delight out of getting in the way of sustainable energy progress. We believe that this project remains highly relevant to the future. This is a long-term trialling centre for next-generation large turbines. Now, without more ado, I'm going to hand over to Gordon, because he's only got now 4 minutes.
Thank you, Jeremy. Is somebody doing this for me, are they? It's not going back. No. That's okay, I can do it without it. Okay, so good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. So Jeremy has given you a bit of the history in relation to AREG and how it's evolved and where it's going. Because renewable energy is developing apace despite the lull that there is at the moment. And we've had a tremendous amount happening in the northeast of Scotland in the last year. We've seen a huge increase in the installed capacity in Aberdeenshire, which is very exciting. It's not in big wind farms. It's in smaller, much smaller wind clusters. But if you go into Buchan now, everywhere you look, some people would say too much, there are wind farms right across. But the renewable energy development industry is very important for the private sector here in Aberdeen, new businesses and jobs and design. We've got it here now, yeah. We have engineering, construction, operations and maintenance. I was speaking to John Patterson down in Montrose, the Harbour Master at Montrose yesterday, telling us about how many new jobs are going to be created in relation to the offshore wind farm there. And there are new markets appearing in Europe and around the globe. But for us as Aberdeen City Council, there are real challenges for us to reduce significantly carbon emissions and also to attract inward investment in manufacturing and infrastructure. And we're particularly focusing on hydrogen and offshore wind. And also for all local authorities, the opportunity to adopt new resources and supply to others who are not on the connected grid. And it's very interesting because the presentation that there was this earlier today from Paul about the islands of the Caribbean also relates to the islands of Scotland. Huge number of islands. It's sometimes a little bit galling when I hear Central Belt-based politicians tell us that Scotland's got 20% of the offshore wind resource, 20% of tidal stream and wave. And in fact, Scotland doesn't have it. Highlands Scotland has it, north of the Highland boundary fault. So that's sometimes forgotten. But there's this huge resource in the islands and highlands of Scotland that needs to be developed and can make a huge difference. I think, trying to be brief here, but some of the things that we're doing is we've been active in renewables for more than 15 years. And we've adopted renewables in our own property portfolio. And we carry out regularly every year energy efficiency reviews. And in Aberdeen Heat and Power, we have a world-class company, a subsidiary of the council, that won the World Award for the best CHP plant of its type in New York last year. We're very much involved in supply chain development. AREG are right at the core of that. We have 1,000 energy businesses here, and all of them, well, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but most of them highlight that renewables is part of their business plan for the future going forward. We support enabling projects, the European Offshore Wind Deployment Centre in H2 Aberdeen. And some of the other excitement that we have here this year, there's 2 floating wind proposals landing in the city being discussed at the moment over and above the Buchan Deep floating proposal that's currently being environmentally tested as well. Just very briefly, I think Jeremy has said that EOWDC is alive and kicking. We are working very closely with Vattenfall, who have appointed a new project manager. They have spoken to all the suppliers, all the manufacturers, who very much see the importance of this project and are committed to that going forward. But we have got a little bit of an interstitial just now with Mr. Trump, but we do see in the next 2 to 3 years will fit in very well with the way the wind industry is going. So we are going to continue. We are very, very optimistic in relation to that much delayed project. Hydrogen, I spoke yesterday, and we had the launch of the hydrogen buses yesterday. That's 10 buses, which will be working by First Bus and Stagecoach by the end of October. But we're also looking at hydrogen cars. We've been discussing with Nissan, Hyundai, who were here last year, Honda and Toyota in relation to supplying cars for Aberdeen. In particular, we're looking at the possibilities of how we can introduce that to taxi fleets in the city. We've committed this week to signing for 2 high Kangos. I must say this to the guys, as part of our fleet. So we are actively trying to do things as a council in relation to low carbon. The whole issue of air quality is very important to the city. We have got some areas adjacent to the harbour and other parts of the city where, for example, ships continue to use their diesel generators while in port. We would like to see a shift in terms of the new harbour that's been developed in Aberdeen to be more renewable focused.
So another minute, Gordon.
Okay, thank you. So there's a real opportunity for our supply chain to diversify their activities in the energy sector. Just a few opportunities and challenges. You can see there, the scale of opportunity has grown massively, undoubtedly, in the last 10 years since the early days of all energy. We've got it's a new global industry worth billions of pounds, really. We can see what's happening around the world. And Ian Todd's presentation yesterday was very interesting. We work around the world. Most recently, I was in Mozambique, who are very interested in what we're doing in renewables in Aberdeen and in Scotland. Kazakhstan wanted to take our bus project wholesale and transfer it there. So there are huge opportunities. Climate change mitigation, increasing energy security. But the challenges, as they say, remain the same. Policy and regulation, uncertainty over planning, consenting and licensing, uncertainty over grid connections. It's good to see that we might have some progress there, and difficulties in sourcing finance. And of course, the thing that Aberdeen has been very good at in the oil and gas industry is cost reduction. There's a time just now in terms of oil and gas industry where we need to do a bit more of that again, but basically that's where Aberdeen's engineering and project management capacity can play a big role. So we're in a good shape to go forward. AREG, as a member organisation, and the Aberdeen City Council with 100% support for that, combining the hydrogen teams and the offshore wind and the rest of the teams together, we're looking forward to the challenges of future years. So thank you.